This is Trent Melsheimer with SDC, and in today's tutorial, we'll be demonstrating how to build dynamic legends within Cameo Systems Modeler. As you might already know, Cameo users can manually assign diagram symbol properties on diagram symbols by right-clicking a diagram symbol and selecting Symbol Properties. The challenge, however, with manually assigning diagram symbol properties across diagrams in your model is that it requires redundant efforts, leaves room for user error, and can require quite a bit of manual upkeep. The good news is that Cameo can automatically determine what color scheme a given diagram symbol should have via what are known as dynamic legends. Before we start, here is a finished product of the example dynamic legend that we will be recreating in this tutorial. In this example, part property and proxy port symbols on a coffee maker internal block diagram are automatically assigned different color codings based on a user-created legend. Let's get started with reconstructing this dynamic legend. First, we will create a legend on the coffee maker IBD and assign it to the diagram. We can do this by selecting the legend element in the diagram palette and placing the legend on the IBD. From there, we can title the legend as we see fit. In this case, I will title this legend Dynamic Legend Example. Once the legend has been created, I can create what are known as legend items. Legend items define different symbol styles to be used in a diagram or table. They can also define criteria that dictates what symbols within a given diagram should receive those symbol styles, effectively making them dynamic. To create a legend item, I can select the plus icon next to the newly created legend. To start, we will work through a simple example. Let's say that I want any elements that contain the word control in their name to be represented with green text. In this case, I will first rename the newly created legend item to control. Then, I will open the specification window of the control legend item and navigate to its adornment property. Within the adornment property, I will see an array of symbol properties that I can then select from. Here, I simply want text to be represented as green instead of the default black color. So I will change the text color option and leave the other options as is. Once I have defined the adornment property, I can then navigate to the elements by condition property of the controlled legend item. This property will contain the query that tests each element that appears on the coffee maker IBD. Within the elements by condition property, I can now specify what criteria needs to be met for a symbol to receive the green text adornment property that we've just defined. In the case of legend items, the contextual variable this represents each element that appears as a symbol on the diagrams in which the associated legend is applied. The way that this works for our example is that each proxy port, part, connector, etc. from the coffee maker IBD will run through the elements by condition structured expression. If a given element runs through the elements by condition structured expression and returns true, its associated symbol on the coffee maker IBD will appear with green text. Conversely, if an element runs through the element by condition structured expression and returns false, or really any other non-true value, its associated symbol on the coffee maker IBD will be unaffected. Note that when specifying elements by condition for a legend item, be sure that your structured expression operation is returning a Boolean true or false value, similar to specifying the criteria of a validation rule. If, for example, your elements by condition structured expression is a meta-chain navigation that navigates to another element in your model, you will likely not see the results that you're looking for. For this legend item, we can use a property test operation to specify that in order to appear with green text on this IBD, the name property of the element must contain the word control. After clicking OK, we can see that the control unit part property and control unit power proxy port both appear with green text since they are the only elements on the coffee maker IBD that contain the word control in their name. One characteristic that all status-related proxy ports on this IBD have is that their typing interface block contains the word status. We will use this assumption for our elements by condition structured expression criteria. When specifying the elements by condition criteria, Cameo will automatically prompt a property test on the contextual variable, which for the coffee maker IBD includes all of its proxy ports. However, in this case, I am not intending to test whether the name of each proxy port contains the word status, but rather if their typing interface block contains the word status. So instead of using the contextual variable as an input to the property test, I am going to create a metachain that navigates from each proxy port to the type property, which will effectively navigate to each proxy port's typing interface block. Then, For each respective interface block, I will use the property test to test whether the name of that respective interface block contains the word status. After clicking OK, I can now see that each proxy port that is typed by an interface block with the string status in it now has the orange adornment. These were a couple of simple examples that demonstrate how dynamic legends can be a powerful tool within Cameo Systems Modeler. When configured properly, dynamic legends can create scalable and reliable color schemes on diagrams within your model. Thank you for watching, and for help with dynamic legends and more, please reach out to us at STC.